Okay. Well, I mean, one of the good things that Warner Brothers is doing is they have taken a cue from Trolls World Tour and are going to go ahead and probably be the next big theatrical release put onto streaming and video on demand with Scoob.
I feel sad about this one.
Why?
I I admit I've always been a little lukewarm on the Scooby Doo franchise, but I saw the trailers for this and I thought it looked good, and I was like, I'm willing to go to the theaters to see a Scooby Doo movie. He doesn't get a lot of good movies that go in the theaters, and now the one that he did, it looks like it's going to be just like every other Scooby Doo movie. It's just going to be released on home theater and streaming.
Well, I mean, I kind of get what you're saying is because we have had Scooby Doo movies in the theaters, but obviously those were the live action movies.
And they
None
were
of the
questionable.
animated movies ever made it to theaters.
No.
And
Uh
in fact, they've actually been better in the past couple of years. They've done a great amount of follow up on some of their anime movies. They actually did a sequel
they're anime movies.
to Zombie Island. They finally finished up the 13 Ghosts of Scooby Doo with a lot of full fledged movie.
I still got to watch that. I just remembered.
It finishes up pretty well. I mean, there's still maybe one or two loose ends that kind of irk me as a fan, but just seeing the little flim flam boy. I love that character back when I was a kid. As long as they
I
didn't bring back Scrappy Doo, that's all that matters.
Well, I think the last time I watched 13 Ghosts, I was like 6 years old, so I'll have to remember back 30 years or rewatch the series before I watch the movie. But going back to the movie Scoob that's coming out.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, the only gripe I have with it is obviously considering they're doing a full length animated feature, they're having to rely not so much on the character of Scooby Doo, but also on the voice cast, which means regular voice actors like Matthew Lillard and Kate Micucci, who have been voicing characters for years now, don't get their piece of the pie on this. The only one that does is Frank Welker, who's been voicing Scooby Doo for I don't know how long. And he even only is voicing Scoob. He doesn't even get the double duty of doing Scoob and Fred Jones like he has been for years. And that kind of irks me.
well, I mean, I think from your standpoint, you are an actor, so I think you can see kind of the problem with that.
Yeah, but I also see the positive side, the business side of it, because you need some names to probably push forward adults wanting to watch this movie as well as kids.
I don't know. I mean, it had this clean animation. By the way, who's the studio that's making this?
What, the animation studio, or like because it's a Warner Brothers movie? I know
It
that
is a
much,
Warner
but
Brothers. That's right. We said that. That's why we segued into it. It was a Warner Brothers movie.
yeah, because
Uh,
Warner Brothers has owned Hanna Barbera for like decades now.
Also makes sense. God, I hate all these companies that just keep combining with each other. It drives me nuts. It's they. Uh, anyway, continue. I'm just
You're getting a little infuriated by the monopolies of business.
I'm trying to calculate in my head, and my brain is just frying. It's like I'm trying to remember because I remember Hanna Barbera was bought by Turner, and Turner either bought Warner Brothers or Warner Brothers bought them, and then AOL bought them, and now AT&T is trying to buy them. It is a confusing mess.
Well, no, I mean it's AOL Time Warner, so I mean those two are in
Is
bed
it?
together.
No, no, no. I think they dropped the AOL a few years ago when they realized no one cares about AOL anymore.
I, I'd have to look at like a Warner Brothers logo on a movie that was released and see whether or not it still says uh, an AOL Time Warner company.
Uh, I won't hold up the episode to look it up, but I'm pretty
Yeah,
confident they had dropped it at one point. I think they're like, yeah, America Online is kind of dead. No one uses it anymore. Maybe we should not reference it whatsoever.
right. But the thing about, but as far as like the voice actors go, I don't like some of them. I like some of them I don't. Because here's the thing: first of all, you got Will Forte as Shaggy, who is replacing Matthew Lillard. I don't mind Will Forte. Will Forte is actually one of the better big names that has done a lot of good work in animation. He does a lot of work on Bob's Burgers. I know that he was just in the animated movie The Willoughbys that premiered this week on Netflix. He's got a good voice. Him, I have no problem with. Then you go to Fred Jones, who's being voiced by Zac Efron.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell Zac Efron's voice from any other guy's voice in the world. If
not
I
to
was
mention
his
it's a very
abs,
annoying
yes.
voice.
Yeah, it's a very generic voice.
I said annoying, not
Unless he's
generic.
singing, unless Zac Efron's singing, I don't care.
So I guess, and so that's everyone. Everyone is like a big name star voicing it.
For the
Ignore
most part,
fact.
yes. You have Gina Rodriguez as Velma.
Okay.
You've got Amanda Seyfried as Daphne, who, of course, I'm just a big fan of Amanda Seyfried myself. You know, she's on my list.
Okay. I don't know who that is, but okay.
You don't know who Amanda Seyfried is?
No, I don't.
Did you ever see Jennifer's Body?
I've seen the trailers for Jennifer's Body.
Okay, she's the girl that's not Megan Fox.
Got it.
Got it. All right.
I'll remember that from 15 years ago when that movie came out.
Right. So that's like the main people. Now, here's where it gets weird.
Okay.
Because Scoob, as we see
where it
in the
gets weird.
trailers, yes, it's definitely weird. Scoob, as we see in the trailers, is not just a Scooby-Doo origin movie, which, mind you, they didn't even make a pup named Scooby-Doo scenes look like a pup named Scooby-Doo, which a little upsets me. I'm a hardcore person when it comes to that show. But they've also seemed to be expanding into a Hanna-Barbera verse, much like an MCU, much like DC Warner had tried to do with Justice League. They're still trying to make another cinematic universe because there are so many Warner Brothers, references in itself, but there's also so many Hanna-Barbera references, which you wouldn't expect because I don't think a lot of people know a lot of these properties.
No, because no one's really been using them since like the 80s and early 90s. Like,
I know, so they're just all being clustered together with possibly the biggest name of the entire franchise. Which I can understand introductions to it, but I mean, they're pretty much the crux of the whole movie.
Are two random bears going to come out of nowhere and go, "Hey, boo boo"?
Don't kid. There might be. I already saw. There was bad enough that there was a Mr. Peebles pet store. I'm still thinking there's going to be like a McGilla gorilla sighting.
How much for the gorilla in the window? You're not allowed to get a gorilla, Shaggy. I swear there's no alcohol in my iced tea right now.
But now listen to the rest of this cast. You've got Mark Wahlberg as the Blue Falcon.
Why?
Because he can't be a superhero anywhere else but animated.
And Netflix.
You've got Ken Jeong as Dynamite, the Dog Wonder.
Who?
Ken Jeong.
Oh, really? Why?
I guess to make him sound smarter, and because I mean, let's face it, Dynamite was goofy.
Yes, he was. I guess he's goofy too, but it's just
but I think they're playing him straight this time, like sort of like a serious dog as opposed to Scooby.
But it's Scooby-Doo. There's already name recognition. And why are you hiring all these big name actors? Okay, they're not all big name actors, but they're you don't need to really even hire a name actor.
Right. Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's got a mix of like well-known names and not so much well-known names. You've got Kiersey Clemens as Dee Dee, who was one of the teen angels that worked with Captain Caveman, who is being voiced by Tracy Morgan.
Actually, you know what? I'm fine with that. I like that. I think that'll be great.
That one you're fine with.
I'm not even sarcastic. I'm looking forward to him as Captain Caveman because Tracy Morgan is amazing. So I think that'll be great.
But I don't want Captain Caveman to be like, unga bunga, we're going to get some bitches pregnant. I don't want that.
You don't think Tracy Morgan can be a little bit more serious even if he's playing Captain Caveman?
And this is probably this is the most serious casting of the whole damn movie. Jason Isaacs, possibly one of the greatest cinematic villain actors of all time, playing Dick Dastardly. I'm like, how much more do you need? My God. It's to the point where it seems like overblown at this point. And that's not even counting that if there's going to be a Dick Dastardly, there's probably going to be a Muttley.
Yes. But you know what? Again, that goes into why this is so sad that this is now being released right onto streaming. Obviously, with all the people, like these people hadn't been cheap to get them part of this movie.
Right. No, obviously.
So this movie probably costs a lot to make, and now they're kind of like, yep, streaming.
Well, here's the difference. Now, obviously, we saw with Trolls World Tour that it had some good success coming out on streaming. It actually was the largest opening for any digital release ever, even if it was just for rentals. The difference that Scoob is doing is that while it is still sticking with the $19.99 rental fee that you'd get with any movie that's being released currently, it is also being optioned as something you can buy. So you can actually download and buy the movie for just $5 more at $24.99.
Huh.
That might be its saving grace right there, because obviously if you go ahead and rent it for the weekend, that's one thing. If you actually go ahead and you purchase it, brand new movie that you can go ahead and have the kids watch over and over and over and just put them to the side, so this way you can have your glass of wine and relax a little.
Have your glass of wine and relax and watch a movie of Scooby-Doo.
Yes, well, why not? I mean, you're only listening to Zac Efron. You're not seeing Zac Efron's abs, so what's the point?
But can you imagine having a wine glass there and you're just twirling it around? Yeah, you set the mood, you turn on the TV, and the Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, let the kids enjoy it. It's like, Mama, the dog's talking. It's like, that's fine, dear.
Other things will be talking too once I sip this.
It's like Fred Jones sounds real good right about now.
Oh, Fred. Oh, Duke Dastardly.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. It's like, if this was a possibility, you could have easily gone with like the established actors and probably add a little more familiarity. This just seems like overblown at this point. Not to say I won't watch it, but I'm going in with like almost a little bit of a cringe to it, because I always find that when you go ahead and you overblow the voice cast for an animated film, you're trying to compensate for the film by getting enough names in there that enough people will be interested in seeing it. As if you're saying the movie is crap, but let's put all the star power possible into it, so this way it appeals to somebody.
Yeah, and that does scare me a little bit, but you know what? I think when this does come out, I'm going to still watch it. I don't know. I'm interested. And like I said, I'm very lukewarm on the Scooby-Doo franchise. There's things I like A Pup Named Scooby-Doo is one of my favorites. I like 13 Ghosts, but a lot of the other parts of the franchise I always found Scooby and Shaggy kind of annoying. The trailers for this actually piqued my interest when I do want to kind of see where this goes. So I'll shell out the 1995 and I'll see how it goes. But yeah, what you said, kind of true. I'm a little hesitant. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully you're wrong. Hopefully it's good.
Well, hopefully it leads to other movies. I mean, if we're going to go ahead and have this kind of an expanded universe, I'm hoping that there's other spin-offs that come from it, rather than it simply just being centered around Scooby-Doo and the gang. You know, I wouldn't mind a Blue Falcon spin-off. I probably wouldn't mind other super... You know who I'd love to see a movie of at this point?
Who?
Speed Buggy.
Why?
Because it's a talking car. I like talking cars. I like Herbie the Love Bug, I like Kit from Knight Rider, and I like Speed Buggy.
Of that list, which doesn't belong here? I don't know. I was never a big...
Technically Herbie, because he didn't have a voice.
He did not, in fact. And they tried to remake that, and...
Well, yeah, it was Lindsay Lohan, so what do you want?
I was going to ask you what your favorite was. I didn't think that was going to be the answer, but okay.
Why? I mean, cars are fun. Cars are one. Like, I was never really a big car guy, but it wasn't until I actually got my first own car. Like, it wasn't previously owned. It wasn't hand me down. My first car, the 2013 Camaro, Inferno orange colored. Oh, I love that car.
I remember you with that car. I was jealous of that car.
I know.
That was a nice car.
And I loved it.
Uh,
I'm not gonna say Schadenfreude or anything, but it's like, yeah, I had no problem shutting people down. It's like then I got fired from the job that was able to afford it, and that didn't help much. So when I had
yeah.
to finally give it back, I wasn't able to afford the next year's model because they changed so much about it. So I ended up having to go with Hyundai's.
I remember, like, yeah, the first time we met up, and I don't remember the reason why. We were trading off something, and you pulled up in your Camaro. I'm like, God damn, that's a nice car. And the next time I think I met you, I think you drove up in like a Hyundai, and I'm like, what happened to the Camaro? Did you just
Oh, it just
steal
made me
someone's
feel
Camaro?
bad.